Welcome to GIS Day 2020 in Lubbock. We're so happy to have you all here. And Grant, we're not here in person. These are weird times, but we're all here wanting to do this together. We're wanting to collaborate on a project that helps the city, helps veterans, and to use our GIS skills to do so. So thank you so much for participating. So we're going to go ahead and go through a tutorial on how to use the ESRI Collector software. So go ahead, make sure you have it downloaded on your phone and you can log in before you come out here, because data plans and everything may vary and you might not be able to download it when you come out here. So make sure you do it at home. But when you get out here, it generally goes really fine. It's just that initial download is kind of hard. So get that cleared out of the way. And then once we're here, so now we're going to go over a quick tutorial on how to use the Collector app. And then we're going to talk about the things to look out for when you're out in the field and how to be the best field collector you can by looking at your environment and actually telling where you are. Because it is very hard to tell where you are out in the field because you're looking at this image and looking at what's 3D in real life, and it doesn't quite always make sense. So we have to make sure we use everything, all our resources around us. And we're going to go through a couple of examples of how to take photos and what makes a good photo for this project, and then also examples of different things we need to look out for in the field. So we'll get started. We have three different little data sets on our Collector app. The first one, which we currently don't see on here because I haven't put it in yet, is a sign in, sign out. So that way we know how long everyone's been in here, depending on if you're using your own account, that you let me know and I can give you permissions for it to use, or if you're using our account, just let us, we want to know when you come and when you leave. So eventually make sure that you put a start dot when you start, and then you put an end dot when you leave, and then we can calculate how many hours you've been here. If you want to come every day and have multiple start-stop times, that's perfectly fine. We'll calculate it and send you a certificate of how much you served. So one thing to do is, the other two data sets on here are the headstones themselves, the veteran headstone locations, and then we have a field that's rows complete. So if you can see on my screen, there's a whole bunch of rows that are solid green. Those are completely done rows. People will walk down them and they've been completed. The white rows that are clear inside, those are the rows that are yet to be completed. So those are the ones, go ahead and grab one, attack it, walk down it, and at the end, make sure you're clearing it so that the next person comes along knows that it's been completed. So I'm going to show you how to do the basic data editing in here. So first we're going to go ahead and add a dot. So this is my location, and it's actually pretty accurate because I'm standing in under this pavilion right now, so it has me under the pavilion. So that's perfect, but it might not always be that accurate because there's this thing above me that's blocking the satellites from reaching me perfectly, so that could disrupt it and it could put me off. If it's cloudy outside, that could disrupt the signals. Trees in the way disrupt the signals. Also, if there's just not many satellites around at that moment, or your phone's just having a hard time handling the signal, all of those come together to not quite be as good. So you might be off up to 50 feet. So don't just rely on your location. Pay attention to surroundings so you actually know 100% where you are. But luckily, right now, we actually are where we say we are. So we're going to go ahead and add a dot. So there's this little plus sign, and I'm using an Android, so my little plus sign, it's going to look a little different for iPhone. But we're going to go ahead and hit that plus sign. Right now, we're going to pretend there's a veteran headstone right here, so we're going to hit vets. And then as we scroll through this, we can add all this information that might be on the headstone. So just fill out what you can. There might be things that you might not know what they are, so you can put a comment in here what you see, or if you really just don't know what it is, you can fill it in with a comment like, look at the photo, because I'm not sure what I'm looking at. So you can go ahead and fill out all that information and then take a photo. And the most important part of all this is once you fill all this out, you have to submit it and complete it. Otherwise, we can't see the data. So in my upper right corner is a check sign. I'll go ahead and hit that. And again, on iPhone, it's different. I'm not sure what it is. And now we have this little point. And on mine, it says it's no title since I didn't add any information. But it'll be the first name of whoever you entered in. So say that, so anyways, we just added a point. So hurrah, we did part of our job. But then we look and we say, oh, that's actually not where I am. We need to fix it. Super easy. Just click on that point. Well, we'll click off of it first. So this is what it looks like when it's clicked off. We'll click on it. And, ooh, I'm fat fingering. If you're having fat fingers like me, go ahead and just like zoom in. But anyways, because I'm still popping up the note area. So go ahead, note title, which is this one. And then I can go ahead and add the information that I missed. Or if I'm actually not at the right location, I can hit this little edit icon. Move my little target to a better location because I'm actually standing on this side of the pavilion. Hit update point. And so we're almost done. We do have to hit that submit, the little check icon again. Otherwise, it's not going to go through. And this is updated live within a couple of seconds for everyone. So whoever else is out in the field or looking on their computers can kind of see this as it's happening. So it makes it really cool. So now that we added our point, we'll pretend we cleared this whole area, and this area needs to get updated. So everyone else knows that they don't have to work on this area. It's been done. So we'll click on it. See, it highlights it. We'll go to edit. And we just have one field here, completed, yes or no. We did finished it. And then again, hit that check mark icon. All right, and it turns green, and now everyone knows that this area is done and that they need to look elsewhere to find these headstones. So that is editing this data. So the last part we need to learn is adding a point when our spatial locator is not quite accurate. So again, we're on this like more right side of the pavilion, and it's showing me actually walking outside. I'm not walking, obviously. So to fix that, if we know where we actually are standing, so I'm going to add a point right here. We're just going to hold down our finger until we see that little plus sign icon, and then it'll drop this little locator pin, and then we'll do collect here. And then it'll be actually where we are. And then again, we can like fine tune this and adjust it. So we want to be exactly in the middle, or for no, we're here more in the back. We can do that and add that veteran headstone. Oops, well, it moved it, but okay, update point, and then we moved it to over here. And then we can go ahead and submit that. And that's just ways to correct it, because when you're on the field, you might think you're somewhere and then realize it actually didn't go where you were. Actually start collecting. Again, we know that this point is pretty close to where we are, our little where we are icon. But to make it more accurate, we need to kind of take a look around us. So go ahead and look for landmarks around you and look for anything that might help you. Look for different sizes between the headstones. Look at different heights. If it's the one that's laying on the ground or if it's one that's raised. Make sure you're looking at all those kind of things. So we're doing pretty good right now. We know we're standing beside the road. And if we look through, and I kind of already covered two of the headstones, but if we look this way, and on the screen, we see we have 3 tiny little white headstones that are raised. And then there's a big, long white headstone that's just above it. And so if we look where we're standing, we see 3 little white headstones that are clustered together, and right above it is a big, white, long headstone. So we can be pretty accurate that these are the rows we're looking at. We can look at further things that right below the rows that there is no headstones till the next row. And then again, we see that in the aerial, so we can be very comfortable assuming that we know which headstone we're at. So the one thing is, make sure you kind of count the rows where you're walking towards, making sure that you kind of know where you are spatially, and count how many you've gone down. Some areas, like right now, it's super easy because I'm at the road, and right here are 3. As you get further inside the middle of the field, it is harder to tell kind of where you are, and you do lose count. So be specifically looking for the different shapes and different colors to kind of give a better reference of where you are. And again, I'm standing really close to the headstone, and it's showing my dot as pretty far away from it, and that's just because my receiver isn't as quite as accurate as it might be. So one thing to also pay attention to is where you're standing, because I could be standing here, which might be in the next row over, and my receiver might be crazy off. So just know where kind of you are in relation. So when you get the dot, I mean, if you want to stand a little closer to make it find yourself a little easier, that's okay. Just pay attention to where you are spatially. So we know that this is woohoo, it ran away. This is the first headstone, second, and third. And then we'll go past. There is a little gap, which is showing on our screen. And then we have two light-colored headstones. And these, you can tell, they don't have a shadow to them. There's no sort of vertical, any indicator on here. And then again, we have two ones that are flat on the ground. So we can be pretty accurate that this is where we are. And that there is a standing up headstone right above them that's kind of centered between. So again, all these indicators are kind of showing where we're accurate. So we're going to keep walking down. Oh, actually, we have a veteran right here, so we'll go ahead and add him. So I'm just going to use my finger again to hold that location down until I get a little drop pin. I'll hit collect here. I'm going to again select that because that's the data set we want. And I'll start adding information. So this is Henry A. McDougall. All right, and he doesn't have a suffix. He's a veteran of World War I. We can add his birth date, which is November 30th. Oh my gosh, 1949. Okay, and then we have all these different kinds of things. I personally don't know what any of this is. If others do, they can fill out these other things. We can put in comments. So on here, because I don't know how to actually fill this out, I'm going to say look at photo, because there is a lot more and I don't know what any of that means. So it's okay if you don't know what any of this is either. Just fill it in. And then we'll make sure everything's correct. We're going to take a photo. And this part is important too. So we're going to go ahead and take this photo. Lean over as best as you can. Try to get it to be as clear in the large in the photo as possible and straight on, and that everything is super legible and that you're not getting a shadow of the phone. Because you can see, and luckily it's pretty easy for me right now because my shadow is over here. Like there's my phone shadow. So it's not on the photo. So that's really lucky. But other times you might have to adjust depending on where the sun is in relation to you. So luckily, mine is super easy. I'm just going to lean over, take the photo, hit OK. And then again, I'm submitting it by hitting that check icon. Also, depending on the time of day you're in, it could be very tricky. I'm going to just add another photo to his real quick. Edit, take a photo. So we're gonna, and I'll delete this photo later, but for an example, say we needed a picture of this. Make sure you just squat down and get that, the headstone in view, and then take the picture. Again, depending on when you're in time of the day, you don't want your shadow in the photo, so make sure you kind of adjust. You might have to take the picture more like this, but then when you're done take the picture, just hit OK. Again, hit submit, and then we're done.